Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Tiny Blue Games Mobile. My name is, of course, Csaw or Chris, and today we're talking about Perfect World Mobile. Hey, how's it going? It's been a little while since I've posted a video on this channel, and for any of you who actually watch my main channel, Tiny Blue Games, you'll know I'm pretty casual when it comes to my gaming content. And I'm even more casual when it comes to my mobile gaming content. So I do apologize for that, but hopefully, you just subscribe to this and it wasn't, bothering you at all. And then all of a sudden, boom, there's a surprise video. So there you go. I do hope to make some more content a little bit more regularly. And I do have some different videos in mind that might focus a bit more on some of my hobbies. But I do also want to continue to make videos regarding mobile games, obviously. So today we're talking about Perfect World Mobile. The main reason I wanted to check this game out is that I played Perfect World International many years ago. I wouldn't, maybe 8 years ago? I don't even know. It was quite a long time ago. I don't know if the game, I would assume it's still running, but I haven't checked it out either. But the main things I do remember from the original game was the ability to be like a panda-like creature as one of the races, kind of like a human just with a big panda head, and then also the ability to fly. I believe that one of the races had wings on their back that allowed them to fly, while the other races kind of got access to mounts, but it was a pretty big part of the game. But yeah, that's what I remember from the original MMO. In the background, you're going to see me play through my initial start process of the game. You'll see me go through character creation, through the tutorial, and do some brief questing once I get into the main game. This video itself is not meant to be a full-on review of the game, but more an introduction or a very starter video of the game, kind of giving you an idea of what it's going to be like when you initially download it. And hopefully, if you don't enjoy it, it saves you from downloading a 3 GB game. Or if you do enjoy it, it confirms that suspicion and allows you to feel good about wasting that memory space on the game. So either way, hopefully you find it informative. I'll give you my first initial impressions of the game. So the very first thing I did notice is that I was able to play my panda-like human creature. The ability to customize your character is pretty good with the sliders. You do have access to a few different races, but I initially locked on to this race just to remember and, for the nostalgia of it all. You can use the sliders to get pretty creepy in terms of how thin you can be, and I almost pulled the trigger on it, but I was like, no, that is way too creepy. So we went for a fully proportioned, very generic looking preset. There are a lot of different other animals you can play with too, and I didn't even dive into some of the other races to see what they looked like, but I did note that one of the elf-looking races appeared to have the wings on their back, and I feel like that's the race that I was originally thinking when I thought of flight. So you get into the game and you're put kind of into a tutorial, which is very standard when it comes to MMOs in general, but specifically also mobile MMOs have followed this pattern, and it's, pretty obvious to see why they do this. They want to show us how fun the game will become, because one of the biggest things in MMOs is that you start from nowhere and you get to this pretty cool, awesome hero. But it's not necessarily the most enjoyable when you don't have access to skills, to mounts, to flying, so they kind of give you a taste of that and then take it away, which is a very smart marketing tactic, and it is also useful for us because it does give us a glimpse into what is to come, right? So what you'll be witnessing through the tutorial is that I do have access to a lot of different weapon abilities. They feel pretty good. The actual combat style. I'm playing in full 3D right now where I can look all around. As I get into the questing area, you do have the ability to either do full 3D or a 2.5D sort of top-down view. And I've really enjoyed the 2.5D top-down view because it takes away some of the chaos on my screen. And I especially find it to be very noisy sometimes when there is so much particle effects and animations going on, whereas games more like old school RuneScape, I find that it's so simple that I'm more okay with the ability to look around, but it has its own view angles as well that help that as well. So it's nice to have the choice, I guess, is the main sentiment here. You'll also note that we do have access to a flying mount in the tutorial, and also we have abilities that we can use on our mount, or more to the point, you can use all of your combat abilities from your mount. So there is mounted combat, which is a pretty big thing even in traditional MMOs on computers. You don't see that really done that much. Now, it doesn't feel revolutionary. It's pretty much you just doing your own combat skills on top of a thing that flies, but it's cool. It's a unique thing that I think this game is bringing to the table and is worth checking out for that reason, if nothing else. Now, when we get into the actual game, we do have quests, we do have, dialogue, and we have the dreaded autoplay feature to a degree. I haven't fully tested it out and see if it'll go and actually kill monsters and return to quests, but you do hit it and it does take you to the nearest quest or the nearest target and gets you attacking. So if you're someone who is watching TV and just likes to hit that button over and over again and progress, you have the ability to. I know for the true hardcore, which, let's be honest, it's hard to be hardcore and be a mobile MMO player. It's a bit disheartening having this feature at all. I do hope for the day that there is, a full-on no autoplay new MMO title on mobile devices. The closest that I've had to achieving this is the old school RuneScape, which is great for what it is, but you have to be in the mood for old school RuneScape, and quite honestly, I do love that game as well. So it's kind of right now one of the golden standards for mobile games. And it's unfortunate that games still want to put in this autoplay feature. And we could go back and forth on it for days. I do obviously see some of the benefit. One of the biggest reasons I actually enjoy it is even in traditional computer-based MMOs, I often find myself very confused about where to go sometimes. And simply having a button that would start directing me to the correct place is a very nice thing. So if anything, if it was more of a navigational tool, I think that would be a big help. And if you could just sort of limit the amount of actual auto playing that it does, I think that would be a big step. But yeah, so you go through the game, you start with one skill and you start learning more skills. You have access to quests, and you do very early on get access to a mount, which feels pretty good to go, pretty good. And there was a pretty cool, unique sequence that happened when you got your mount, where you were kind of playing almost like a Guitar Hero mini game, where you would have to push the right key at the right time to earn the mount's trust. Now, it was a very basic version of this, where I think you only had to push a total of 5 keys. But the fact that they have these mini games in the game at all makes me wonder how they will use them in the future. Now, I often think to games like WildStar that had all these different mini games actually worked into different boss encounters and into different quests. And if they can bring that into mobile MMOs, I think it's a really good thing. Because when you think about it, phones are really well designed for minigames. So if you start adding some different minigames inside of your MMO, you could have a very unique experience that computer MMOs don't offer or can't offer as well. So I think a lot of mobile games should be thinking of what they can do better and what they should really emphasize. But all this to say, I was very interested in the fact that they did have some different gameplay that I just wasn't expecting. So on the whole, do I recommend this game? Well, I definitely don't regret downloading it. I think it is worth to give it a try. I think obviously you will learn a lot more about the features of the game as you progress. This is once again just a very taste of the game. With any MMO, the further you go, the end game content, there's a lot of more stuff to get into, and really if it interests me, I'm very interested in making a second video describing it, so we'll have to see if it does capture my attention. But until next time guys, thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you did enjoy it, and if you've played this game, let me know what it's like in the higher levels, and if you have a different MMO or mobile game, let me know what you'd like me to play next. Thank you for watching, I'll see you in the next video.